I always wanted to learn to fly. I always wanted to fly. When I was 15 years old, I took my first solo flight, which was great because my mom had to drive me to the airport because I didn't have a driver's license. At that time, I was too young. And I was just wrapped up in aviation ever since I was just a little kid. And, you know, making it to the big time and be kind of like a baseball guy getting to the big show, you know, getting to fly a big jet. There were times that I can actually remember having my hands on the yoke and flying the airplane and looking down and looking at my hands and going, God, I'm driving this thing, you know. It's just great. There's a lot of communication when you're flying. The job is 90% talking on the radio, give and take with the air traffic control and with the people in the back and with the co-pilot. And we used to joke around that you could read a newspaper or tell a joke and not miss a radio call. And it got to where they would give me a frequency change or an altitude change, and I'd read it back and I'd go to set it in and I'd go, was that 21.5 or was that? And I'd have to be querying the co-pilot. And we joke about it, you know. You just say, well, just another senior moment. Little things like fuel burns. You get a little piece of paper and it has all these little check marks, and when you cross over Gander, you know, you should have so many pounds of fuel. And then you look at the gauges and you calculate how much fuel you actually have. And this is just basic math, and I couldn't do it. I was screwing up basic addition problems. The next thing I know, they called me back for a check ride to check my proficiency, and I failed the check ride. I went to a psychologist, and I went to a psychiatrist, and they were saying maybe you're depressed, you know, the airline's going under and you're losing your money and maybe that's the problem. And then came a third check ride, and I didn't do well on that one either. After that I got it's probably laying around here somewhere, a letter of termination from the airline. I eventually went to my family doctor who sent me over to an imaging place. There was an area of atrophy in the right rear area of my brain that the way the doctor put it, this scanning guy, was that it's a little bit more than we'd like to see in a person your age. One of the things they did early on, and the psychiatrist had done it too, they asked you to count backwards by sevens from 100. And I got to like 93. I didn't have the ability to hold two numbers in my head. It was very frustrating. She sent us back to the neurologist with what she thought was a fairly firm diagnosis of Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's? It can't be Alzheimer's. I remember asking, could he have been having mini strokes, or could it be, you know, because Alzheimer's, he's 54 years old. It can't be Alzheimer's. I think the human mind has a way of not grasping it, because it was just, at least in my mind, it was just such a horrible diagnosis that I just couldn't own it yet. I did not own it.
I was never happier than when I was in a cockpit of an airplane doing something, flying. It's how I define myself. You ask me, who are you? I'm an airline pilot. And now, you know, a good, beautiful day like we had today, and you look up and see the contrails going by, and I used to work there.
Alan said something very interesting to me back when we first got the diagnosis. He said, "I'm almost glad it's Alzheimer's. At least I know I wasn't incompetent as far as flying."